Daddy Mac. Dan's 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play option. Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
Morning, everybody.
The legend is back. We're glad to have you back, Troy.
Hey, glad to be back. Glad to be back. I told my wife, loved the vacation. I wish I could have stayed in front of a computer Friday, to be honest, and traded.
Oh man, that went over well, I bet.
Well, she didn't enjoy getting stuck in a different city anyway. So we were supposed to be back Friday. We didn't. So she was okay with that. It was a travel day, so it wasn't a fun day anyway. So but market Friday, last I spoke to you, I said I think it's going to end down on the day. It's my guess. And then we proceeded to go up 90 to 120 points.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
But at least we were all right when we talked on the morning show on Friday. It's like we all were semi-right with saying we think, easily we're going to move somewhere 50. I think we said 50 or more points from there, which it was true, right? It never the actual performance is always more dramatic to move up 120 points. Everything was Thursday and Friday, right? The two big candles. And then Friday morning, literally 7 minutes, 8 minutes into the opening, we started this this 120 point, horrific, depending on what your deltas were, but 120 point move up. And then we backed off a little bit. So, but it's still, Troy, at the end of it, you think, wow, market in turmoil, market everything. And then you look at the year to date and the S&P, and we're up almost 14%. And you're like, we're just going to, it's just trading it's interesting. People think usually when you're in a big candle environment or VIX is near 20, market's going down. And we've had some of that. But you can be in a big candle environment in the market net not go too far, right? And that's what makes it tough for especially range bound traders, because you have these moments of euphoria, it goes your way, and then these moments of it takes it all away, right? It's like, hey, you're up 14%. Sorry, you're down 4%.
It was it's been a microcosm of, last night's action overnight. It's a microcosm of that, because we were up, I think, to 6,800 in the futures.
Wow.
Which is from here 60 points. I mean, so we had to move overnight and it reverted back down. I still think, I really don't think this is a market that wants to rally higher.
I agree.
I think that might have been short cover. Who knows? But it got tired. And VIX obviously went down, but we ended above 20, and
which is pretty amazing. And like you said today, in the futures, it hit 6,800. It can't bust through there a little bit on the upside. And then this week, to me, it's like, I don't know if Matt finished all his Civil War minutes, but I think of like a battle. The battle this week is Thursday. It's Thursday.
Yes.
If you're thinking Rick's Thursday seems, Friday could be the results of you have a military battle the day after. Maybe they're finishing up. But Thursday, you've got Nvidia Wednesday night. So the effects will be Thursday. Thursday, you have Walmart earnings before the opening. And you have, if I have this correctly, the first jobs number that's actually going to come out. Now, President Trump says it may not be fully out,
Right.
Whatever that means. Maybe Matt can explain that. But Thursday morning seems to be the first set of numbers in a while. Matt, you want to extrapolate on that a little bit?
Well, listen, I think it's just a little bit of volatility for the politics, as if our politics needed a little more vol. But I'm not sure what sort of precedent there is to release these catch-up numbers. And I don't know. I think this week it could be interesting because you've got that, but also we have these Nvidia earnings is this week, right? So
Wednesday
that's
night, yeah.
So yeah, so I'm not sure. It's
well, I saw last week that the system was irrevocably damaged, and we might not ever get certain information.
Don't you love that? Don't you love that? Don't you?
Which,
great statement.
If those numbers are so accurate, they never get revised anyway.
It's just a funny. It's just a funny. It's just a funny thing to say. Something went wrong with the numbers. We'll probably never be able to release.
If that's not.
Here's a question: if we never had numbers, would that be an improvement or not?
No, listen. All of those things are true. I'm just saying. That's a dog ate my homework situation.
It's a heck of a framing, isn't it?
It's a dog ate my homework. I mean, that's crazy.
Well, listen, I don't want to get us too serious.
No, but Matt, hold on. I'm sorry. I've got to interrupt. Matt, I've been away for a week. I've been smoking. I've been walking to California. Matt, yes. I got to have a Civil War minute.
Well, today the Civil War Minute is actually, we're not doing them every day, but today's a special one with a connection to Option Omega, because on this day in Civil War history, in 1863, one of the most pivotal years in the Civil War, Knoxville was besieged. And
really,
quick geography lesson. This is confusing because it was besieged by the Confederates. Quick geography lesson. The Civil War was predominantly fought north versus south along the Mason-Dixon line. And Knoxville is in Tennessee, which is south of the Mason-Dixon line. So this is the pro-slavery Confederacy, the side that lost the Civil War. But Knoxville was a hotbed of unionism and abolitionism, actually, throughout the Civil War. And Lincoln particularly had an affinity. And whenever he could, it seemed like he was always trying to get a general, hey, go help all our friends out in Knoxville. Go, even when it was behind it, go make Knoxville a priority. And there were battles fought at Knoxville. And the reason this has a connection to OO is last time I was in town, Troy took me to it's a city park, I think, actually, that's a fort. Now, it's not a fort as in the sense of big stone or wood walls. It's earthworks, but they had multiple cannon. We took some pictures. And indeed, Knoxville was besieged by Longstreet, who's one of the most famous Confederate generals, notably at Gettysburg, but survived the war. Super interesting. It'll be a Civil War hour if I start talking about him. Super interesting guy. But due to some battles in the area, that siege was eventually lifted. But yeah, Knoxville was besieged on this day.
Was it because of his abolitionist views?
It was because more of the Army's movements around the battles of Chattanooga and Chickamauga, and where the Union Army was moving and what Rosecrans was doing. This is the time period when General Grant, my favorite general, started moving from the Western United States, on your camera probably this way, after succeeding at sieging Vicksburg and opening up the Mississippi River, moved to take command of the armies in the East, eventually being in charge of all the Union armies. It was this time period, the Battle of Chattanooga, really the first time he found himself in command of a force that wasn't predominantly a Western army. That was a Civil War 4 minutes. So Siege of Knoxville today, many years ago. Thanks for tuning in.
Troy, Matt's impressive with this. He's impressive with that stuff.
Very, very much so. And I, as a history guy myself, I love listening to it, and I could listen to it all day. Two follow-up thoughts with it. One, three follow-up thoughts. One, I have to imagine Grant, just the first 3 weeks of being back in the East, just being like, I haven't been able to shoot an Indian in like 48 hours, like getting the itch because Matt, the West,
the
West.
Grant, listen, the West was St. Louis. Okay. So think of St. Louis as being the West.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yes.
For the clarification.
Now, interestingly, Grant's subordinate, Sherman, actually was very involved with the Army during the Indian Wars, which is a post-Civil War minute.
Yes, Custer's a great post-Civil War minute himself.
Custer, also Civil War.
Also didn't
General.
mind. Also didn't mind taking care of some Indian. Anyway.
Yes. Or trying to
at least. Second thing was growing up in Knoxville. It's a southern city, and you have in high school a bunch of white guys be like, "South's gonna rise again." Not we. Other people would wear the Confederate flag.
Right.
The 90s was a different time, and I would love, like McGill Dryce Tailson or whatever his name is. I would love Matt to appear like on my shoulder as a kid anytime they're like, "The South will rise again," and be like, "Well, actually," and then just get into Knoxville
in uniform, the 78th Pennsylvania. I'm there.
I'd love that. And then finally, to transition, I would say, like Grant, I come back from the West with more tests to look at today.
Beautiful. The true West, California.
As far as you can get on the continental side.
Actually, California strongly connected to the Civil War, which will be a different minute.
I saw seals a bunch of times. We went to Hearst
Navy
Castle.
Or Harbor.
I wouldn't know if I saw them. Harbor seals. I will say this about California, and then we transition. I went to Hearst Castle. Are you familiar with Hearst Castle, Dan?
No.
Okay. This was an interesting thing about living on the East Coast. All of us. I mean, we didn't live on the East Coast, but the eastern side of the United States. You think about it was a different point in history, and it's kind of a forgotten point in history because of World War II and how powerful that was a narrative. But William Randolph Hearst owned every newspaper. So if you've ever seen Citizen Kane, Citizen Kane, it's basically William Randolph Hearst.
Wow.
And in the movie, he builds the biggest house in the world called Xanadu in Florida. Well, it wasn't in Florida. It was actually in San Simeon, California, where we were. And it's basically like Biltmore. So, Dan, if you've been to Biltmore, Matt, if you've been to Biltmore, it's basically Biltmore, but on the sea.
Wow. And
it was quite the thing to behold. So,
is it still pretty intact today?
No, they gave it to California as a national park like in the 50s.
Oh, so it's kept up and everything.
Oh, but like orange trees, mangrove trees in the front yard. It's crazy.
Oh my.
Anyway, I say that to say I've got myself a little Hearst Castle. I got myself a little Xanadu because while I was away, you guys released some new features on the Option Omega platform.
That's true. We did.
Yeah, you released a feature about short-long ratio. So today, what I thought I'd look at is we're going to go to the dark places. We're going to go to the least used symbol on our platform by far. Matt, do you know what that's going to be?
I'll tell you what it is.
It's
either Apple or IWM.
XSP.
That's the unused one. We don't even have it on our platform.
I would say for backtest, it's either IWM or Apple.
We're going to go IWM. We're going to go.
I would
IWM.
argue Apple, but okay.
Apple could be the thing. I mean, I haven't seen any IWM tests. I haven't
neck
seen
and neck.
Yeah.
I like this IWM, Troy, because people will maybe get on the liquidity of RUT. Yes. But when you did the small accounts challenge, this would be perfect. You got a little bit more volatility. IWM historically has had, I don't know if you'd say 20% more volatility.
Oh, it's one of the top 5 tickers in volatility.
Yeah.
In many days.
And if you can get for a small account, IWM is going to have much better liquidity, I would think, than RUT. I think it's perfect. Yeah.
Well, and I learned some stuff about Russell's volatility in this that I think would be a fun little couple days to talk about. So first off, let me cough. without being able to mute.
First of all, let me cough.
First off, let me cough. Secondly, I give you a very unoptimized test. Okay.
You had me at 6 DTE.
Matt, what the heck are we looking at?
A 6 DTE IWM Iron Condor. I guess, right? No, Iron Butterfly.
An Iron Butterfly. It's a 50 Delta fly, 10 wide, basically 10 wide, or a cent, whatever's
yeah.
the
with a very healthy amount of slippage, I might add.
I added a healthy amount of slippage to
Yeah.
this test. I'm trying to I went away from California thinking I got to get my life in order. I got to add a little bit more slippage to my life. So you go hard in the paint, and
for all essential purposes, you're just selling a straddle, right?
That's all you're doing.
You're just selling a straddle 6 days out. I like that. I mean,
yeah. And you're paying, you're paying 34 cents, 10 cents, 33 cents, 16 cents. But, so you the wings have a little bit.
You're right. A little bit. Yeah.
But it's not much. So here's what's interesting. That's okay. This is fine. Whatever. It's a big drawdown for a 1.4 MAR. Like, okay. I mean, and it kind of expected. You're setting a 6-day IWM and you're getting out whenever it's moved 10 points. So like it's going to win most of the time, but you're going to have plenty of times that it doesn't win. So I thought to myself, I wanted to test the new short long.
Oh my gosh. Did you do it on a Condor?
No. No. So, but what I did was I did this. I give you now a very still unoptimized test, but a little bit better. Now, let's talk about what the heck.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. You did. So when the ratio moves, Troy, listen, Troy took a vacation. He and I didn't talk. But one of the things I was thinking is, man, all anybody, and when I say anybody, I mean myself, all anybody's doing with these new short long ratios is calendars and diagonals. It'd be great if somebody did one on a credit selling trade like a Condor or a Butterfly. And here he is, folks. Troy coming in strong.
I'm a real boy.
I'm a real boy. Excellent when short long ratio moves 500%. So you're using that as a rail.
So let me start with this. I went through, actually, let me go back to the other test real quick. I went through this very unoptimized test and I started looking at the opening short long ratio. And what I noticed was that a fly for IWM actually has pretty large short long ratios. Like if you look these opening, short long ratio, and a short long ratio basically, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, the short divided by the long. So the short premium by long premium, you actually have a pretty high ratio. And what's interesting is if you do this in SPY or you do this in Qs, it's much smaller.
Yeah.
It's
fascinating.
So what I did was this is a little bit of a filtering mechanism, I recognize, but I tried to remove things. I'm going to go back to the other one. I tried to basically set where is the distribution of these, because there were some outsized losers and winners in both directions. I said, I'm interested in setting. So I'm only going to do this if its min is 8 and its max is 14. Does that make sense? So I'm only going to do this when the short premium, the long premium is healthy and normal. So again, pretty unoptimized. That's an eyeball glance. It's not anything other than that. The other thing I did was you go down to this new feature here, and I said, we exit when the short long ratio is below 7. So here's the first question to think through. If I'm doing go back here. If I'm doing it to between 8 and 14 and the short long ratio goes to 7, do you think that's a stop loss or a profit target? Like, what would happen if short long goes down in this instance?
Well, it should. I mean, it should, in both. It could. Well, if it goes down, it could be a profit target, as long as we don't. But you can't say for sure.
Exactly
For example, you want the premium to go down, but what if we go down? Let's take Friday, for instance. We had 120 points off the low or whatever. Depending on where it is, the price movement on a 6-day could hurt you. You generally want the premium going down. I mean, I like the minimum 8 to max 14 because you're bringing in the fact that, some people would think, well, I want the big premium. Well, no, you don't, right? You want it at 30 if the market's stable, right? And so you're with minimum 8 to max 14, some two-way. Because if you get the correct me if I'm wrong, if you get the ratio up to 18 or 19, that means the vol is soaring, right? Which means the market is getting hammered. That's right. So I like this range. You want some premium. You don't want what you wish for. You don't want too much premium, right?
That's right. You don't, one of my favorite Norm Macdonald jokes is a Weekend Update where he talks about the richest girl in the world had her birthday party. What does the richest girl in the world get for her birthday party, you might ask?
What?
Well, 2 birthday cakes. That's the joke. Anyway, so
good old Norm.
Love it. So the thing that's interesting about this, so that's the first thing. The second thing is we are going to exit when the short long ratio moves up 500%. Now, this to me was the fun part of this exercise, because you see these bid ask, and the bid ask here is interesting. This is something that I would actually say you would have to live test a little bit to see, because there's a lot of wide bid asks we're noting in the data, but IWM is a very liquid stock.
Yeah, and if you look at the times for them, you've got 9:45, 10 a.m., potentially some news times, 2:01 on a Wednesday. That might have been that's probably a news minute as well, I'm guessing.
Exactly.
And we actually have a comment from somebody who's automated with IWM and says it's been good. And he has said he's outperforming his 3-cent slippage apparently in the back test, which is great. But yeah, again, the reason IWM is in there is because it is typically extremely liquid. And Troy, can you filter this by those short long exits when the exit ramps, when the short long ratio moves, to look at those? Super interesting. Are those all winners? Oh, those are the move up. When the move up. Okay, so mostly wins when the short. Yeah. Fascinating.
Let me just see this. So it's 2.
That's fascinating. And how many results are those? It's covered up on my screen. Is that a lot of the results? It looks like a decent number of times that happened.
Yeah, 60. Sorry, I didn't.
Oh, wow. So yeah, a third of the time. Can I talk for a second on why I like the concept of this test, Troy?
Yes, you can.
This is not going to be a rant. It's just an observation. But 0 DTE premium selling is so popular. And, there's been a lot of digital ink spilled on what's going on with multiple stop again in type scenarios the past couple months. And a lot of these 0 DTE credit selling trades almost require the users, or the users might feel like they have to become an expert in all things about the mechanics of the stop loss, where the order is sold, where the order is held at the market maker, or the brokerage, or what sort of latency they're getting on the stop, and the stop type, and the second check, and consecutive stops, and resting stop versus a rest stop versus a Bucky's rest stop, and all these different stop things. And what's interesting is without like, that is probably the most common way of trading. And I'm not, I mean, I do those trades too sometimes, less than I used to, but I still do them. But what's interesting is I feel like there's this whole realm of longer DTE credit selling that's not going to be as exposed to gamma and sharp delta moves, tweet moves, if you will. It's going to be less susceptible to the Greeks of delta, gamma, and Trump's tweets, which we probably should include as a Greek. And this is an exact example because this is just a gentler experience when you're on a 6 DTE instead of a 0 DTE. But yet you're doing it on a vehicle that has, traditionally good liquidity and offers plenty of opportunities as far as expirations to trade.
Can I make 2 quick comments?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, a couple thoughts, but one that's been going through my mind, and you could say, since I just wanted to say, as much as I like saying in the pits, I want to just say Liberation Day, because Liberation Day is another phrase we all like to say. But since they're, when you get the big candles, especially the last, week or two, I mean, we've had candles for a while. I think it's whatever, to me, it's just a suggestion when you're, and test it, obviously, with the back testing. But if you're doing 0 day, consider 2, 3, 4, 6 days. If you're doing, like we were doing more 15-day calendars, and we suggested, hey, candles are bigger, go to 21 days, right? Just move your duration a little bit. You say, what will that do? It'll give you a little more, it'll slow down the Pac-Man game a little bit. Right. And that's it, because sometimes that 0 day, when you're getting the big candles, boy, you feel like someone just put the Pac-Man level at 5. And that's one thought.
Yes.
The other
via a tweet, nonetheless, Dan.
Yeah. So the diversification, I think, and even I was going to do on the modeling platform today. I was just thinking about this over the weekend, looking at DCs and just talking about the Greeks in relation to a 20 delta to maybe a 30 delta, or 20 delta to 25 or 30 in a DC, and some of the subtle differences and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's, you diversify some of them. But I just had a question for Troy. Can you explain to me? I missed a thing here. So I see in the exit, you talk about short long ratio below 7. And then we have this range of short long 7 to 14, and then miscellaneous, we're talking about, or no, exit, you're talking about 500%. I was just focusing on, what am I missing here? With the 7 to 14 is the range you want in the short long, right?
8 to 14.
And then
so 8 to 14 is the range to put it on if the short long is between 8 and 14, and then you either take it off when the short long ratio goes below 7, or the short long ratio ramps up 500%.
So not just above 14.
Yeah, no, you could test it, but I was testing. I mean, really, what this is just testing a feature, and what the idea trying to apply this test was to say there might be a million different ways to optimize this better. But what I wanted to show was that it's possible without doing a profit loss. Now, I put the rails on of the call tested, put tested, but besides those rails, it's possible to take my favorite type of tests, to be honest, are ones that where the stop loss and the profit target are using the same mechanism. Delta exits is that.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to test that theory to say, like, is there a way basically to improve a test just by looking at, I mean, it's a pretty simple thing, really. I mean, you don't need a 40-minute video talking about variance or anything like that to figure out, like, the short premium and the long premium. Like,
well, and aren't you just bringing in, I mean, the two main things that affect any range bound trade are price and volatility. And you're just bringing in, you've got the rails for price and you're bringing in vol. With the short long ratio, if you're bringing in premiums, which is extrinsic value, you're bringing in vol. So I think that's totally makes sense, right?
Yeah, you're playing vol. I mean, that's what we do as option traders.
Yeah.
We're just trading vol, and so this is just a way to trade vol in a different way. Again,
I like it. Yeah,
you no doubt. I shared the test. I put it in the Discord. No doubt, you guys can make this better. Again, this is unoptimized as heck, but I thought it was interesting. I think the idea is interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious to looking through some of those bid asks, because you can look at a wide bid ask trade log and usually tell if the price, how many there are, and if the price is close to what the bid ask actually is or whatever. So I'm interested in looking at them, but for sure the 10 o'clock news one, that's just going to be, it is what it is.
It's part of life, and it's going to happen, and you're going to get out with wide bid ask every once in a while. So there, you have to kind of nuance that and take it with a grain of salt and go with each one. So listen, we're going to continue, and this test isn't ready for small account challenge, to be honest. But man, I would love if we can get it, calling all option omega researchers out there. I'd love if we can get this thing to where we feel comfortable saying we're putting the small account challenge tag on it, and we'll start trading this baby. That's the
I'm excited.
Challenge thrown down, gauntlet thrown.
Well, because I always think of just like you think of the big daddy trade SPX, right? And you leave kind of SPY out of it. But when you look at I think of, okay, I'm not going to trade RUT. I don't like the liquidity, but you love the volatility. And the answer is IWM, because like the gentleman at the beginning who said he did this with slippage of 3 cents or less. Well, that makes sense though. When you think of like slippage 3 cents in SPY, that's 30 cents in SPX, right? So 3 cents would be plenty. It wouldn't surprise me if you said 2 cents, if he tested it at 2 cents, because this is SPY is, again, it's still 1/10, right?
Yep.
Yeah. IWM, Qs, SPY, they're all, I think of them all as about a 10.
I like that. I like the small account challenge with IWM. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. And this was part of the plan. You might have noticed we haven't done small account challenge in like a month or two. I've been trading quite a few of the small account challenges, and in December we're going to do a real deep dive. But before that, to be honest, like with the modeling tool now, we're about to go hard. The rest of the year, we're about to go hard in the pain on small account challenge.
Oh my goodness.
Good.
We're about to, because I'm excited about, I'm excited about people being able to model and see what they're doing as they learn, and then being able to automate without having to have $100,000 and learn options. And I think this is a great way to learn. And to be honest, and we don't scratch our own backs too much. We try not to. I think we've got tools now that can really help new traders. We always have, but I think we've added some stuff that's really going to help new traders
big time. And it's almost like, Matt, if I could use as we're getting towards the closer, like a baseball analogy, if Troy, bringing up our favorite movie, Moneyball, it's like Billy Bean totally revamping the farm clubs, basically saying, look, we don't have the money to compete with the Yankees. So what we're going to do is we're doing a whole new training system, right? We're doing a whole new revamping so that we can develop our own. And I think that's where Troy is, because you're right. With the modeling, now you just don't have great back testers. You have great back testers who totally understand it, right? But you can bring them along at the right pace. Is saying, hey, don't trade big size till you know what you're doing. A very novel idea, but it's totally violated over and over and over. And I think one of the things also that will help in the industry, and I don't know if it's, we're close to getting those interviews. I checked on that over the weekend with Tom South's office. But Scott Sheridan basically has said he's been the pioneer of champion the small, what do you call that? The
pattern day trader.
Pattern day trading. I thought it was completed, but it's not in effect yet. Am I correct on that?
No, they'll still flag you right now.
They still will flag you. Okay, so I think according to Scott, they're pretty close, but that will do wonders, because now there's not that temptation for someone to make a bigger account, because it's like saying, put 4 steaks in front of you, you're going to eat them, right? And if you have a bigger account, you'll just, I'll trade it. And next thing you know, you're down 10 grand or whatever. So,
and I have been, and I have done that. So, anyway, listen, I'm excited. We're going to have some more fun stuff this week to look at some models, things like that. Tomorrow we'll look at this model a little bit to show you kind of how to gauge this and things like that. So I'm excited. It's going to be a fun day. Stay strong out there. Stay healthy in the market. All the things that people should say before they start trading. So blessings to you. We'll see you guys tomorrow.